Hi Laura, how are you? We're
I'm
here
good.
with Laura Mccracken, non-executive director at GuavaPay, and a slew of other roles and experiences which we'll get to. I think it's fair to say that your career path is really telling the tale of innovation in payments, from card networks to banks, tech giants, and now startups. So we're delighted to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
How was the summit so far?
Good. I just finished a panel discussion on financial super apps. That was really interesting.
Yeah, so what was like the most surprising or interesting thing you picked up from speakers? We had the retail brokers, we had providers like GTN who work with Revolut, we had Visa, an interesting mix.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things. One was the level of debate about whether or not a super app was a good idea.
Oh, okay.
I found that
In terms
there
of
was
ethics or users?
I think it's partly definitional. So
Okay.
for example, when people think about a very broad super app and they think about combining kind of the everything app like
Right,
you have
WeChat and stuff.
WeChat
Okay.
Pay, Alipay, they say, oh, that's not going to work here. It's not going to work in Europe, for sure.
Okay.
Because the regulators will kill it, and
Yes.
people like their privacy, and they like the more specialized services. They don't want the all-in-one app. However, when you start talking a more narrow version of a super app, like a financial super app, there's actually a lot more acceptance of the idea, because
They want to become one, so they might as well
everyone
accept
wants
the
to
idea.
become. Yeah, absolutely. But they also, I think they recognize the need. They recognize the fact that you want to be able to have everything in one place.
Right.
And we talked to the second thing, and it kind of ties into that, is the idea of when we kind of unbundled banking services,
Yeah.
then we're now rebundling.
Rebundled, by all means.
So we bundled, unbundled,
Yes,
and now we're
to tap
rebundling.
to pay and tap to enter a concert and so on. So
Just being able to do lots of different things on one app. You know, you don't want to have. I think we're inundated right now. The average person has 200 apps on their iPhone or their Samsung
Yeah.
phone, whatever, Google phone, and you're overwhelmed. So you actually want to have a bit of order amongst the chaos. That's why we're now rebundling.
yes.
From the
Right, so until the big, with an uppercase B, rebundling, let's talk about unconventional partnerships, of carving out specific micro rebundling. What would you say would be an interesting partnership and out-of-the-box one as well for a typical attendee of this event of financial services? We're talking about retail brokers, hopefully with a 5-digit client base, regulatory approval from one regulator or other in Europe, either FCA or maybe SISEC. Where should they be looking that they have no idea?
Well, this one just is on the top of my head because we recently had an election in the US.
Yes.
And this is a very unconventional partnership, but the betting markets.
Okay.
So I like a lot
The
of
poly
American-
markets of the world? Okay.
the betting markets. I mean, I've always been, I'm addicted to politics. I love it.
Okay.
So I'm always watching the pollsters, trying to read the tea leaves, figure out what's going to happen with the election. And then I decided to get into a couple different betting markets
Okay,
right
wow.
before the election.
How did you
And-
do? Are you allowed to disclose?
No, I mean, well, I lost.
Okay.
But the main thing, I didn't put big money down, to be
Okay.
honest. I did it because I wanted to see how the election was going.
Okay.
And I could see by midnight that I was
You wanted skin in the game
that
in
I was-
order to follow it, I see.
It's not just skin in the game, but I think the betting markets are actually more exact. And this is what I'm talking about, unconventional partnerships. What you need to do is you need to figure out, what do I bring to the table, like the pollsters.
Okay.
The pollsters have knowledge of that subject matter, and they're doing focus groups. However, the betting markets have an engaged, active user base that are
Okay.
actually, they are putting skin in the game. They've got money in the game, so they care. They care, and they're probably more accurate, and that's what we discovered after
Okay.
this. They were more accurate than the pollsters, who actually know the subject matter better. Why are they more accurate? Because money's on the line.
Okay.
The pollsters were probably afraid to really make a call.
Where is
kept
the poly
saying-
market?
They're like, I want to make some money.
Yes,
So you can
okay.
start seeing the needle shift toward midnight.
Okay,
You
the-
know, so I would say that the trading markets, the brokerage markets, they have an ability to bring data and people together and AI,
Yes, for sure.
to any market. So you
Right.
can really bet on anything these days, right?
Okay, I bet you're right.
You can trade on anything these days. You've always
Yeah,
got a
pretty
buyer and a
much.
seller,
Right.
and that's actually when you have that kind of market, there is always a symmetry of information. However, I do believe that when you've got money on the table,
Okay.
you're going to get a better answer, a more exact
By all
answer.
means. So you don't quite have money on the next table I want to ask about, but you are mentoring and overseeing work of many startups in fintech, judging competitions and so on. So what do you currently recognize that the giants of payments need from these startups? Which areas within the payment ecosystem are ripe, let's say, for innovation?
Well, I think we're all talking about embedded finance right now. And embedded finance means, again, that kind of goes back to your idea of partnerships, unconventional partnerships, embedding financial services into a customer experience. And that is, there's so many different areas for that. You can look at embedding financial services into the automobile.
Okay.
Imagine putting it into an Alexa device and being able to trade while you're on the go.
Okay.
So that's an example
Sounds
of an
awfully
area
insecure, but apart from that,
for innovation.
lucrative. Okay.
No, but people are talking. Well, they're definitely. You've already got lots of partnerships.
Screens,
between the likes of Alexa or Siri and automobiles and other customer journeys. But now the idea of putting financial services in that is one step further. And then, look at the example of Apple and Goldman Sachs. Now,
Okay.
that's an example of both a positive and a negative. So, you look at Goldman Sachs, they decided they saw Apple as a great area to enter consumer financial services. Apple saw Goldman Sachs as a place, they'll hold the deposits, they'll manage the regulators.
Right.
I'll hold the customer and manage the customer experience.
They'll do the heavy lifting, yes.
Sounds like a partnership made in heaven, right?
Okay.
However, you're always going to have challenges at the end, and thus you're a real expert on figuring out who owns the customer and who manages the customer service.
Right.
And that's kind of where they fell down a little bit, because Apple would say, go to Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs would say, go to Apple.
Right.
So sometimes that relationship falls down.
Got it.
So I just think, again, back to your question, where do I see the most area for innovation?
Where do you see startups aiming at now within?
Startups, I think the simple answer for startups, I would look at things like cross-border is one area. It's a pain point for everybody.
Okay.
So cross-border payments, remittances is a huge area. I think that's an area for fintechs to get involved. And again, it's an area where they can be very innovative by partnering with companies that, like social media companies that actually have connections around the world. So imagine
an unconventional partnership right there.
Yeah, but
cards.
imagine you partner with TikTok or Twitter or Facebook, and you embed your financial service into that journey, and you allow people to do outbound or remittances through those corridors, through people's relationships.
Right. That's literally P2P.
But the simple answer is, definitely, I'm putting all my money right now on cross-border.
Okay.
Because we've got to figure out how
You're big on betting, so you put your
I
money where your mouth is. Okay.
Exactly.
So I will finish with play from your book in myth busting, if you're up for it. I'm referring to your videos where you
my myth busting sessions.
Exactly,
yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So let's take the myth of the EU stifles fintech innovation when the US celebrates it. True, false, or it's complicated?
Well, I'm going to have to say it's complicated, aren't I?
Yes.
As any good consultant. The U.S. is known for, it's certainly going through a big period of deregulation now,
Right.
post-election. I think we
Yes,
can
in
expect
crypto and
that.
otherwise, yes.
Yeah, having said that, it's a complicated market to get involved in terms of 50 different regulators, because you've got different
State level jurisdictions,
regulations.
yes.
So that makes it more challenging. I used to always tell my friends in the US, come to Europe, come to the UK,
Okay.
because we've got a nice friendly regulator here.
And a single one
market,
at that.
yeah.
Okay,
And
interesting.
we're opening the doors to fintechs and financial services, so come
Okay.
over. Having said that,
Are they happy with with your advice?
well, it was, I think in 2014, 15, 16, it was great here in the UK.
Yes.
I do think the pendulum has swung a little bit too far the other way in terms of regulation, but I'm hopeful that we are changing that. So I'm hearing some positive signs
Okay.
from government and from the regulator that we are looking to loosen things up a little bit in financial services. So
Okay.
fingers crossed.
Sounds bright.
Yeah, watch this space. I'm going to put, if I have to bet again, I'm going to bet on the UK market
Okay.
because it's trusted
Okay.
and we do have a strong regulator. I do think if they can make some tweaks to the model, this is the place to come.
Okay. We got it on record. Thank you very much.
But thank you.